First of all, I want to ask you, how are you today? Are you okay? I hope you are good. There's this nice weather here in Yerevan. I really enjoy the city, and I'll definitely come at least once more. So before doing the introduction into my topic, I just want to see and check with you, are you familiar with the mobile game marketing, user acquisition, any topic of that? Because I want to try to make this presentation more for you, to try to maybe get you a good introduction with the creatives, with the key KPIs, etc. So if you are familiar into it, just raise your hand if you know what it's about. If not, then I'll give you just a short, brief intro about user acquisition and what it is. So anyone familiar with UA? So. Okay, it's good for me to know then that, because I'll try to fit it more for your needs. So what is user acquisition? It's kind of the mobile game marketing act where you promote your game through the various ad networks. You can do it mostly on the two ways. Either it's organically, which is kind of non-paid way, as I would say, and also you can do it through the paid networks. I can talk about UA for a whole day, but today we're going to talk about one, I think, really important stuff when it comes to mobile games marketing, which is kind of appealing in the gaming. When I say appealing, you probably maybe don't know what I mean on, but it's how you show up and what you should be care about. I'm talking about creatives, and today I want to share with you about my experience of the mostly overlooked mistakes that I noticed working with a small and medium-sized gaming team. So it will be also, I think, beneficial for you to understand how does this can apply for you, either if you are starting to think about this segment and how you can be ready for it. So let's go to my team today. So we will talk about creative blind spots, which are overlooked in the UX success. Before that, let me introduce myself. I talk a bit and I didn't introduce myself. My name is Ramiz. I'm coming from Belgrade, Serbia, and I'm a passionate gamer and biker who actually enjoys crafting marketing experiences for the people, for the gamers across the world. Currently, I'm working as head of user acquisition at GameBiz Consulting, and our main mission is to help small studios and bigger ones as well to grow their user base through the effective engagement and user acquisition campaigns. Additionally, we also support our clients with the ad monetization services, financial management, business development. So any kind of this aspect is something that, for example, you need for, you can always reach out to us and we can always give you some free advices, not only kind of trying to sell our services, because our main mission, as I said, is to help studios grow. Okay, so as I scratched to the surface what we're going to talk about today, let's go through the agenda. Today I want to go through the most common and overlooked mistakes done by UA teams. I explained earlier to you what is kind of user acquisition as an activity. And a quick disclaimer, this is my experience, so I'm sharing the real knowledge that I got through the 8 years in the gaming industry. And I used to work with the small and medium teams and also big UA teams. Like from, when I say small and big, I used to work with the teams that had 1-2 people in the marketing, and I used to work with the teams that had like 20 people in the company. So let's start with the first one. And I think it's really important when it comes to marketing is people usually overlook it, don't take it seriously to define the clear KPIs to measure creative success. I'll talk about each specific stuff in the moment, and for today also you will have, I think, almost 30 minutes after to ask any questions regarding this topic or any other topic regarding UA. So first thing is I notice is not defining clear KPIs. Second thing is overlooking ASO, which is kind of app store page for your game. And third thing is people, and this is something that I also kind of learned the hard way because I was in the same spot. I was skipping the gamer motivations. You need to find out like what motivates people to download and play your game. So let's go step by step. This is some KPIs that I would say most of the UA teams usually look at. And when I say by that, I mean on CPI, CTR, and IPM. I'll explain more because you're probably hearing this maybe for the first time. So CPI is cost per install, CTR is click-through rate, and IPM is installed per mile, which is kind of how much users installed on 1,000 impression shows. These metrics are actually, they're good indicators, but they are not presenting the complete image. They can just give you like one part of the image, and if you take a look and give you kind of the answer what they should be focused on, I call them impact KPIs. When I say impact KPIs, I mean on the post-install metrics like retention, ROAS, average revenue per user. Why these metrics? Because these metrics can actually show you the real success of your game, how much you retain the players within your game in the first day 1, day 7, day 30, whatever. From the second part, how, I don't know, profitable is your creative. So that's also really important. So you can maybe now in your head kind of drive conclusion that these first metrics, like pre-install, are bad metrics. No, they are not bad metrics. And retention is something that kind of you should looking for. Not exactly. Let me emphasize that a bit more. So IPM is actually a good indicator that can show you how your audience react to the ads. That's that first impression, and that's really important. And retention is a good indicator how your game is reflected to your player base. So I'll give you now one example. IPM, you can look at this. You have, for example, restaurant or boutique on the street, like you have your game showing in the millions of the people. And IPM can actually show you in this gaming world how much of the people that passing through the street is coming to your store. For example, if your store is looking, I don't know, blue, and I don't know, you can see from 1,000 of people, 8 people comes in. But if your audience and your product is maybe something different, they like more different color, and you, from 1,000 people you can get 12 people in your store. So that's kind of that first entrance point for your players when they see first interaction with your game. And for these post-install metrics like retention is how often they come to your store. You know, they can come only once. They see, okay, this is good store, but when they come in, they see they don't have something interesting for them. So retention metric is applied for your game similarly to this, is like how people are attracted to your game and how often they will come again. I hope that I understand a bit better. So what we learned here? Here we learned that pre-install metrics can show us really one part of the funnel. So we have the funnel, and I'll try now to explain it better and talk a bit about it. So we have just here like 6, 7 steps, which are really important for you to understand how the funnel looks like when it comes to the showing your game to the audience. And as I mentioned in the intro, it's how do you appeal in front of the audience. So first touch is the player see the ad. So that's kind of the first impression. Then he needs to click on it. Then he go to the App Store and have another experience there. On the App Store, you have the additional moments, screenshots, etc. And I'll talk about them a bit later and what is some part that you should be focused on when you're building this. And step number 4 is converting, like people decided to download your game. And ultimately, step 5 is someone do some in-app action in your game. They buy some microtransaction, they buy some package, they buy some currency, or they watch the ads or whatever. So this is a really important thing I think you should have in mind when you build any kind of the marketing activities. So Now you might ask, what is the difference? And the difference, I have here three examples. Based on the pre-install metrics, for example, you would say Creative One did the best. It had the lowest CPI, highest CTR, and the highest IPM. But did she? Now, if you take a look at the overall experience and take a look at also post-Intel metrics, we can see a bit different numbers if it include the retention and, for example, if you include ROAS. We saw previously, okay, Creative One was the best performing when it comes to the price, but when it comes to the retention, how actually it's appealing to our audience, we can see that Creative 2 and 3 are actually much better because higher percentage of the numbers stay longer. They retain better. They are staying longer in our game. Also, when it comes to the ROAS, how much we invest in showing that ad to the people and how much we get back. So this is, I think, one of the most overlooked things. You need to take care of both of them in order to understand the full picture. So let's drive here like the final conclusion of this topic. I would say install metrics or pre-install metrics are really important and they shouldn't be skipped. But post-install metrics are even more important and they shouldn't be overlooked. So you need to take a look on this as a complete package in order to see to understand the complete funnel of your performance. So that will be it for the first part. Now we can move on to the second one, which is people are mostly overlooking the App Store pages in this user acquisition funnel. I showed you earlier like how the funnel looks like. Players see the ad, they click, they go to the store. But what's happening on the store? We need to remind again ourselves that App Store is that moment before they joined our game. So we need really to be careful about it and to see how we can improve those numbers, that conversion numbers. Let me show you what I mean on. For example, you have the ads, and I'll give you some examples of good performing and bad performing by my opinion, experience. You have on the one hand ad that is showing, for example, blue color background, gameplay, some mechanic, bright and vibrant color scheme. They are showing main character in the video. They are showing some social feature. You click on that ad, and then you go to the store, but on the store you see different stuff. You see different color scheme, you see no characters, you see no social features. And I'll share you some now examples for you maybe to just understand it, how this looks like when it's full funnel good aligned and how it looks like when it's not that good aligned. Let's start with the first one. So it's from the 8-ball game. Which, let me first show you the video. Okay, what did we notice here? You can see the ad is showing like some different 3D mechanics, game mechanics effects, but when you go to the App Store, you don't see that. You see a complete different image. You see like classic 8-ball pool, which is kind of green table, and you also see the icon, which is kind of 2D style, which is not kind of representing the emerging experience. Players are expecting to see, okay, I see the ad, I want to download this, but when I go to the store, I see something different. They seem to be like a bit strict when they do it like that. Okay, let's move to another example. So this is the other example of this game, which is kind of puzzle Tetris wooden. Let it finish and I'll comment after. Okay, this is very short ad, but here as well you can see the difference like in the ad and the App Store. which is kind of showing the whole experience for the players. On the ad, we can see that you have the gameplay in some wooden frame, while on the App Store, we can see something different. You can see that you can compete with yourself. You have some high scores. You have some neon effects around these bricks and everything. So it's really different. So that's why I'm trying to emphasize here. Now let's move to some bit better examples. And here we have phase 10. In phase 10, as you can see, the color scheme on the store and the gameplay, it's really connected. You can see the similar colors. You can see the logo presence is there. You can see the strong CTA at the end, and it's really connected. But what's also additionally good here is players see the ad, which is kind of relaxing and showing the gameplay in the right way. Then you go to the app stores, and on the app stores, you have slight extras. You can see that you have on the store ability to play it with your friends. You have, I don't know, 2 different power-ups in the game, which kind of gives an extra points to explanation of this game. And one more example, which is final one, I promise. I hope that it's not that boring, but it's really important to give you some good examples how to think about this. It's the, I would say, masterclass for Marvel, which is kind of expected to see from brand like this. Please take a look here. This is the first impression. You can see that everything is similar, but let me show you the ad and then store screenshots and everything. Okay, remember this creative because later we will talk about gamer motivations, and this is really good example for that as well. But overall, this is great example of great ASO, UA, and branding. This is pure masterclass from Alvar. You can see the logo presence and brand presence is everywhere. They have the fast-paced creative that actually shows their collectible or hero games. And on the app stores, it's just follow up with a more experience of it. So I don't have anything to add except great job Marvel for this. And let's drive final conclusion with kind of this app store thing. What is important stuff that we learned here? Every click that happened on our creative ads is really important and they shouldn't be overlooked. We need to make sure to capitalize all of them as much as we can. That's kind of really experience. We need to show the players the wholesome experience as one page. So that's kind of really important. And now we can move to number 3, which is creative testing, which is not something that you particularly do as a small studio when you start, but it's important for you because you want to make sure that you are not paying, I don't know, tens or $20s of dollars for the install per creative, so which is really important. And is this today, I would say, hectic UA world because it's really competitive. This is very hard to maintain. And I want to share with you today how you should approach the creative testing because I think I have some experience. In last 1 year, I did like more than 500 creative tested. So this is what I learned, and I want to share some insights for you because it will be really beneficial. First of all, just to know how hard it is how hard it is to find the new winner. So for example, you have one creative that is best performing one, and you know, and you want now to develop one more which is also the good performing one. Chance to doing that is really small. It's less than 5%. Which can be really discouraging if you consider how much you put effort into it. You hire your artist, you work with your game designers, you are trying a lot, and chance to win the new creative is really hard. And this is some, I think, scale numbers. So how much actually you need to test creatives in order to have one new winner. Based on my experience, you need to have at least 50 creatives tested to have 2 new winners, which is kind of really discouraging, especially if you look at how much time you need to develop 50 creatives. But let me give you some tips which I learned through the process that you don't need to be desperate, because you can do some faster things to have new creative winners. So how to approach it? How to approach it? First thing is to test more creatives. No shit, Sherlock. No, I really mean it. It's kind of common, but I understand that especially small and medium-sized studios cannot do it more often. So second thing is to improve the creatives that show potential, and I'll talk a bit more about how you can do it. And third and most important thing that I also was overlooked, because I learned that I think year and 2 years ago when I was find out a bit more about gamer motivations, you should include gamer motivations in building the creatives. So I wouldn't speak much about that creatives, more creatives, because it's self-explaining, but how you can improve your, I would say, winning ones. So imagine you're having the legacy creative. What I mean by legacy creative? Legacy creative is one that is performing sometimes even for a year, sometimes even for a month, 2, sometimes even for, I don't know, 1 season. And you have some creative that you develop recently with your game studio or whatever, game designers, and you can see that it can be a winner, but it's still not there. You can see, for example, legacy creative has the IPM of 3.2, new potential winner has the 2.9. And some of the, I would say, game studios just throw that. They say, okay, it's not winning, let's focus on something new. Don't throw them out. You can focus on iteration of that potential winner. You should sit down with your creative team and discuss, okay, this creative was really close to be the new winner. But what is the difference compared to the legacy creative? Is it the duration? Is it the click-through action button? Is it showing at the start, at the end? How is the team? Is it the sound appealing, similar to the one or another? So you need to consider all the factors and differences, do the iterations, do another test, and potentially you will end up by having new winner who can have like 30% more better results. And if you have 30% more better results, then you will have 30% more users in your game, which can be really important for you. So that's the first thing. Don't overlook that. Improve your potential winner creatives, because it can help you a lot. And now let's talk about gamer motivations. I found 12 of gamer motivation, not by me actually. It's research done by amazing guys from Games Refinery. They done a research from 10,000 people. And you can find, I think, a lot of these reports online. There is also some Google and Meta, I don't know, reports about gamer motivations. Or if you have some connections, you can ping your representatives to get them. How you should use this? You should use this as an example to find one motivation or 2, at least for the start, to find what is fitting with your game. Are your players in your game looking for exploration? Are they to make social connection, to play with their friends? Are they competitive? They want some progression or expertise? Or are they someone who want to discover completely another world? They want to test something there. Are they someone that enjoys, for example, PvP? You know, they want some power or whatever. Or are there some players that they enjoy the escapism, which is kind of more, I want to join to some world which is not real, you know, that I want to join in the game. So you need to find, based on your research about your players, and then apply that to the creative. So I'll now show you some examples of these motivations and how they look like. And this can really improve your creative strategy on a whole another level. I guarantee that. Let me show you some examples. First of all, we will start with the progression. Okay, this is great example from Grand Harvest. It sounds maybe too complicated when I speak about it, you know, how to show progression, but you can see how they simple done it. You have the solitaire game, which is shown in the first place. Then you have the leveling, which can show you that you can progress. You have thousands of levels to play, which is easily to showcase in the video for just 15 seconds. And you are aiming just for that audience that is looking for that type of the game. Now let's move to the expertise and World of Tanks. Okay, you saw also in this short video how it started. It started easy to learn. So it kind of gives you the perspective that this game is really kind of easy to learn, but very hard to master. If you are looking this creative as someone who is competitive and who is trying to find the challenge, this will be really appealing for that type of the users. Like, okay, I want to be better. I want to have an expertise in this game. I want to win. This is how you aim to have those people. And thirdly, if you want to, and if you have some people that are taking away for the social connections, take a look example of Hero Wars, how they did it. So as you saw at the start, they started with the question, are you alone? You don't need to be alone. Join a guild and you can play with your friends. And at the end, even you have some gift, you have some treasure to win in this game, which really emphasize that social feature within this game. So that would be the examples, but now let me give you 10 more. This is based on my experience because I think this one I told earlier, it's important, but let me give you 10 more based on my experience. So first of all, what you should test when you consider the creatives and what are the differences? Duration. You can test the videos, as you can saw earlier on the examples, from different duration from 5 seconds to 60 seconds. If you are advertising on different networks, you will find out that the, 30-second creatives work the best. In some cases, it's 60 seconds. While, for example, if you are advertising on social media, which has the kind of shortest attention span, you should use maybe 5 to 10 seconds. Like if you're using, Reels, Stories, or TikTok ads, you need to focus on that. Then second tip I want to share is test with branding and without branding. I know that I explained earlier Marvel as a great example, but Marvel is Marvel. It's already a huge brand. And for example, if you are just starting, it might not be the case for you. So you should test it by yourself. We find, for example, for 1 hour game that without a logo and branding presence, the results were better. And we said, okay, we want a better results. At the moment, we don't care about branding and brand positioning. At number 3 tip, we have test different formats. For example, your game is landscape. But you eventually might end finding that the portrait is something that users want. If you do that creative testing, that it will make you also consider, should I make my work and game portrait available as well for them? At number 4, should you include characters? Yes or no? And additionally to the characters, I'll share you one of my experience where we tested for one main game, which main character was Turtle. And Turtle kind of is main character, and we was just focusing on building creatives around that. But we had additional characters in the game, and we never tested them out. And we decided, okay, let's test, Firefly. It's more appealing maybe to because our audience was more core audience was more female. When we included Firefly in the creative testing, it showed like 10% better result. Then we just started iterating on that one. So if you have different characters, test them all out. Test them all. At number 5, seasonality. Okay, I have here weird story maybe to say to you is, of course, you should test the seasonality. And when I mean seasonality, I mean like summer creatives, winter creatives, use the summer backgrounds, color bright, for the winter more maybe cold ones. But one of the weirdest thing I had in my creative testing process is sometimes, for example, winter creatives work the best at the summer, which was kind of weird because probably people wanted to have some escapism. I don't know, we didn't find the answer for that, but it's important and maybe encouraging for you to test them out. At number 6, we have minimum threshold. This is important when you approach the creative testing. How much is the minimum number before you throw out your creative? I would say, based on my experience, that number is 50. So before 50 installs, any creative is generated, don't throw them out. You need to have some, at least this is the bare minimum number that you want to have as decision maker. You don't want to make decision after, I don't know, 10 installs. Maybe it will be 10 users that are not very interested into your game. You need to have at least 50 users per creative, then compare the metrics, which I talk first, if you remember, and compare the results. At number 7, exclude the most expensive markets. I'll give you an example. Your top performing market is the United States, let's say, and you're generating 80% of the revenue. But if you approach creative testing in the United States, you will spend several thousands of dollars, which is not profitable for you. So how you can approach it? You can approach it by testing creatives in the English-speaking countries, which are similar to the, I would say, US users. So you find, for example, I don't know, Canada, you find Australia, New Zealand, you can even test, I don't know, Thailand. So you can find those countries which are very highly populated with English-speaking users, test the creatives, and then you can replicate those results in your main market. At number 8, optimization goal. This is something that I noticed working with a bit bigger clients, even because they was trying, let's say they had campaigns where they was hunting the quality users that will make the purchase, etc. And then they was testing creatives on the install base, on the volume base. And then they try to compare that. It's not the same. It's like you're comparing the person who buys an iPhone and a person who buys an Android. You know, person who buys an iPhone has different, I don't know, point of view about phones, and person who buys Android is different. So you need to find optimization goal which is kind of more appealing to your audience. At number 9 is watch time metrics. This is something that you can see because often you test the creatives on the Facebook first because it's the most easiest one for you. And there you have like watch time metrics, which is really important for your creative team. You have how much percentage of the creative is being watched, and you can like deduct every part of it and analyze which part was the good performing one. You will see, for example, that creative one is watched by 90%, like almost 8 of 15 seconds. And then you will know that actually that creative is being watched more than the other ones. Then you compare, okay, why this creative is watched more? You sit with your creative team, and then you're making the final improvements for that. And lastly, test different types of the creatives. When I say different types, I mean, as you saw earlier, I showcased only the gameplay creatives, which is kind of only showcasing the gameplay, but you have the storytelling, you have the 3D, you have the user-generated creatives, you have the gameplay creatives, which I show, you have like TV-style commercial creatives, you have a bunch of them, but I would say this comes maybe a bit later. It's not something that you will do immediately, because often this will take you more money, more budget, more time to test, and this is something that you will be probably doing when you are trying to scale. So let's drive the 3 key takeaways. from my talk today, and then after I think we will have 20, 30 minutes, I don't know, for the questions, anything related to what I was talking or UA in overall. But let's drive the final conclusions here. So first one, what we talk about is don't overlook the post-install metrics. Pre-install metrics are important, but post-install metric as well. Second conclusion is you should be align your creative and app store page to talk the same language. You need to showcase your players the wholesome experience and journey from the first impression to your, I don't know, latest impression in the game. And lastly, which I encourage you to do, is to include gamer motivations in building your creatives. So that will be it for my talk, and now we can move on to the questions. So I encourage you, you can ask me anything about creatives, UA, how to start, how to launch UA activities, whatever it's related to mobile game marketing. So I don't know if someone will assist me with the mic here. I hope it will, but or you can ask. I think I can hear you really good. So don't be afraid, just ask anything. Questions? No questions? Please ask something. Yeah, sure.
Maybe I can. Thank you for the great presentation. Actually, I'm not really engaged into the gaming, but the presentation was really fruitful for us. I have one question regarding the final product. For example, when you develop a game and when you design the logo and you upload that in App Store or in Play Store, how to link the game with the reviews and stuff, so the whole work will not be like punished, and the functionality of the game is great, but maybe the design, the branding at the end is not at that level compared to the game development. So this is my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the feedback and the great question. I'll give you now how you can approach this and make it as a solution. So by my experience, there is several phases before you launch your game on the app stores. First thing is, I would say, is marketability testing. So you have, for example, some idea to build third-person shooter game. Let's make an example. You will need, first of all, to go to see how the market looks like, what is around there, and how many players are playing in that category. You will find eventually that there is like 45 million of players. Then you need to see, okay, what they are doing and how we can compete with them. And then you develop eventually your game, which is kind of competing with them. And you can see in the research that you will find some markets that are appealing for your audience. To test that branding and everything is aligned with your game, you can do really easy like marketability test in top markets where players are. And you can seek for the feedback from them, you know. And then you will eventually end with having a feedback. You will have positive or negative feedback. And then before even launching the game in those markets, you will have actually the feedback to improve. Additional point, I think it's important, especially if you are building a game around some community, you know. It's always good to have that step before the game is live. You are trying to build, for example, community for indie games, where you are sharing all experience with the indie players around the world, and you are getting instant feedback even before you find the publisher and you find the place to publish your game and how to do it. And by doing and having the feedback, then you will have more time, and like really, people are the best in the giving feedback, especially when it comes to the games. If they like it, they will share it. But if they don't like it, they will eventually tell you, okay, I don't want to play this game. It's not good for me. So I think there is, yeah, as I mentioned, 2-3 parts that you can do it. And then you can approach, especially when it comes to mobile games, because it's different for the PC. For the PC, you need to prepare the project and apply it for the application, the Steam or whatever. But for mobile game, you can do soft launches. You can do only testing in few markets. You know, for example, you are certain that you have completed your product, it's localized, it has, for example, English speaking. Let's test it in a few countries and see the reviews. Then you see the reviews, then you see what you can improve, and then you are ready to go globally. I hope that I answered your questions. Great. Okay, sure.
So my question was related to the, advertisements, because there are many popular games that have gameplay that does not match the reality, and somehow many of them still are able to attract many players that invest in that game and play it regularly. So I was wondering, what is the chance that you can succeed with a false gameplay in your advertisement?
Okay, this is something I not covered, but it's really an amazing question. It's all, I don't know, all around the world people are asking about how this is possible. You know, you are showing, I was showing you the good examples, and for example, there is people in the industry that are showing just how I call it fake gameplay, you know, and also the big names are doing it. Like, I don't know, most popular one is Playrix, I would say, for the gardenscapes, etc. But I'll now try to explain why they are doing that and what's the reason behind it. And I was also doing that because when I was in the company, I wanted to test, you know, why this is working, why we are not working. Let's do some, I don't know, fake ads to show some critical stuff to see what's happening. And we was doing it for one game. And what we found out? We found out that results were better. We had the better CTRs. We had the better IPMs. And we was ultra happy about it. We said, yeah, we finally make it. Now we can scale like twice, whatever. But we overlooked, if you remember, post-install metrics. We didn't take a look even for a month. We was kind of ultra happy. Now we found the best performing creatives. But then when we did analysis after 1 month, and we saw retention is like 30% lower. Conversion rate is like 20% lower. And then we will start thinking about, okay, this create type or approach for the creatives is good to attract the attention. To people see your ad, click on the store. But when they download it and they play it, they don't resonate. And that is confirmed, and I'll tell you now how. Playrix did the same. Playrix did the same on a big scale. And Playrix and let's say Hero Wars are also doing that. But they have huge budgets. They want to compete at the bust. They want to stay at the top. They are looking to buy as cheapest as possible. But even them, they didn't do it profitably. And what they ended up, if you played Playrix game like 3 years ago and today, you will notice that they introduced mini games. Mini games which are kind of relevant to their ads because they know if they are showing just ads which is not replicable in their game, they will lose them. They will lose that players. So even if they buy them for $2-3, they will eventually use them. So what they did introduction to the mini games which are kind of more relevant to the ads, and then gradually convert them into their game. So it's doable, but it's very tricky because imagine yourself, you need to push your development team to introduce mini games into game, and they already built like the complete onboarding and everything. It's hard, but it's doable, and this is why people are doing it. Why audience is reacting like that, like good on that creatives, because it always drives your challenge or, I don't know, some pain. You want to either click, remove, or report that ad, you know. It's that kind of three motivation that it drives. So that would be it, I think. I hope that I answered to your question. Amazing. I think we have here.
Thank you for a great talk. Our question is related to user acquisition and the networks we should use on different platforms, on Google Play, for Google Play and for App Store. And we are a small company, indie, self-publishing, and our games have some success on Google Play, but it's always very difficult for us to promote our games on App Store. We are using Google Ads mostly, but Google Ads isn't working so well on App Store? And what would you recommend to use for App Store? Maybe Facebook or Apple Search Ads? Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback and amazing question. I'll try now to answer because scaling and testing on the App Store is really difficult today, especially you're probably aware about these privacy challenges that is happening around the iOS, and what they completely changed the way how to approach the Apple Search Ads. Back then, you could just launch the Facebook iOS campaign, it would work out. Today, that's not possible. So if you are small in the studio, as you said, and you want to go on the iOS, first and biggest, and I would say highest valuable network to go on App Store is Apple Search Ads. It's not the scalable one, but it's the most quality one. On the Apple Search Ads, as a network, you have the best chance to find the people who has the highest intention to play the games, because you're showing your ad in front of them directly. So I would say that. For the other channels, I would recommend rather, because it depends also on the budgets. You know, there are also good channels, but you cannot test them without, I would say, $500 a day, which is kind of huge budget, especially for the small companies. But if you are looking something more affordable, you can go Unity or ironSource. Unity and ironSource are also good because they are still using at this moment fingerprinting, so you will have chance to actually watch the data. If you go to the Facebook, 80–90% of the installs will not be tracked. So it will go to the organics and you will not know what's happening. If you go to the Unity or ironSource, 95% of the installs will be tracked because they are still using the fingerprinting, and Apple is still not banned it, so you can use it as analytics. And what's good there is you can, for example, in Unity, you can target certain category. So let's say your game is in the action, RPG, or whatever category, you can select only that category and show your ads in it. On the other hand, on ironSource, which is kind of maybe most transparent network, you can even tag on the publisher level. You start the campaign, let's say, with $100 daily, and you will eventually see where your impressions are coming from which apps directly. So, for example, you will see the top 10 ads that your game is being shown, and what's even better, you can bid differently for that keywords. So that's what I would recommend for the App Store. And of course, if you have any additional questions regarding that or whatever, you can feel free to ask. You're welcome. Any questions left? Please, yes, no? I think that's it then. Thank you, guys. Let me thank you once more. I hope you really enjoyed, and I'll be there whole day. After that, I have the panel where we talk about some, I would say, different challenges, how to maintain the lower CPI, etc. But if you have any questions regarding UA, you can ping me here, you can add me on LinkedIn or whatever. Just please don't hesitate. I'm always open to hear and help. So thank you once more.